From DIY Marketers, it's Bizapalooza Chat, a show about the basics of small business and how to implement simple but often overlooked strategies that take a little time and effort but generate big results. I'm Ivana Taylor, and on today's show, we're going to show you how to stand out in video. Everyone says that video is hot, hot, hot. And I feel like I really want to hear some Cure right now. Hot, hot, hot. But what if you don't know if video is the right content strategy for you? Or worse yet, what if you want to do video, but just aren't sure how to stand out in the whole thing? Well, you're in for a treat, because on today's Bizapalooza Chat, our guests are Andrew and Pete, two video superstars who have found their voice and unique point of view on video, and they're going to show us exactly how they did it. So welcome, you guys. It's so good to see you.
Woo! We are so happy to be here. Thank you so much for that awesome intro as well.
Nice.
No pressure on us.
No pressure, no pressure. But you know, one of the things, I met you guys at Content Marketing World this year, and I have to say, one of the things that I use to judge, especially what I would consider to be like online marketers or people who are influencers or people who are like experts, my secret judgment is who you are in real life. Does that match up with who you are online? And I think you guys do that especially well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Are you
like
saying like we are edited and have loads of effects popping out of our faces?
I love that.
Because
It is like my favorite thing about your videos. But you know, the other favorite thing about you guys is kind of how you got started. Can you talk a little bit for the audience who hasn't read your about page, your Andrew and Pete story?
Okay, you should read it though. It's a riveting read if you have not read our about page.
It's a whole 300-page book. Life story.
Go on. Maybe you should give the skinny
version.
Yeah.
Okay, so we first met at university. We got randomly placed in the same halls of residence together and bonded as friends. We wanted to, run our own business together and take over the world. So we decided to start our own business. We didn't know anybody. We had to move all the way to the other side of the country because Andrew wanted to live with his girlfriend over in Newcastle, which is like such a pain because
right?
we didn't know anyone over there. It's a new place. We didn't know anybody. We didn't have any contacts.
And you went with him.
To get business. Pardon?
You went with him, sort of like the work husband.
Yeah, he followed. I tried to shake him off, but there was just like he was relentless. I was relentless. Pete was his nickname.
Relentless Pete. I was the ultimate third wheel. So yeah, I hung in there.
It was worth it though, wasn't it?
It was. He's still with his girlfriend now, which is good.
Yeah.
Saying something. And he's still with you.
And he's still with me, so it's paid off.
I feel like I am the constant in all of that. Like I am the common denominator. I am a loyal person.
You're the person bringing it all together.
Yeah.
So as I was saying,
this is the skinny.
We were completely screwed because we didn't know anyone. We didn't have a reputation. We didn't have any domain authority or Twitter following or anything. So we started doing all the things that people say you should do, tweeting, blogging, Facebooking, and nothing was really working. But at networking, it was working. Because in networking, we were our true selves. We were Andrew and Pete. We were a little double acts. We were fun. We'd take chocolate to networking events. We'd throw chocolate about. We'd take indoor fireworks and party poppers.
You dressed like zombies.
Yes.
We dressed as zombies. Yes.
It was Halloween.
It was Halloween, to be fair.
Oh, it's like you didn't dress as zombies like at Christmas or.
No, it wasn't like your everyday attire.
That would have been way better.
Would have been.
Yeah.
Zombie Santa, maybe. But we didn't get any business online. And I feel like this is where a lot of people are at. They're doing all the things that people are saying they should be doing, but just not getting anything from it. And that's where we were at. And so the one thing that made a difference was actually to create content that was more like what we were like in person. So that comment that you just said at the beginning was actually quite a pivotal thing for us that we didn't even realize or do ourselves at first, because our blogs were very generic and boring. Like nobody, it's so funny, like your ace, like it was just like really boring, really boring.
They're still there. You can scroll back if you really want to.
Yeah. So,
but you just
that just didn't
video.
work. So the moment we did something a bit different, that's when things started to take off for us.
You know, I have to say, so there's part of your story that just generally pisses me off.
Which
because, well, you know, everyone tells you, and I think that's part of our conversation today. I was generally pissed off, I think, until I read something or saw something. You guys actually mentioned it in passing in a video.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, look at these guys. They're just being themselves. Oh, we were just ourselves and the magic happened. Like, well, you know, I myself, and I have no magic happening at all, especially on videos. So, you know, that's like not a good answer. I did find some inspiration in your failure, because there was some point where you guys talked about in one of your videos, you talked about, I think you hired a consultant, or you hired someone to help you with your voice and your positioning or something. So can you talk about the difference between we were ourselves and this was like really awesome, but then you still did some tweaking and there was still failure in there, and this finding your voice? Talk about that.
Yeah, we didn't actually hire anyone to help us find our brand voice or anything like that. But what we did learn is how to get better at getting that voice across. So there was like a pivotal moment where we said, you know what, we need to stop doing what content we're creating, which at the time was blogs. We need to go into video. And so like the first videos that we were creating, they were terrible, right? Like you can scroll back. If you look at our first ones, we're kind of very, very awkward on camera.
Very awkward.
Like we were editing it all of ourselves. But even at that moment, when we can look back now and say that was terrible, like there was a immediate switch, and we immediately started getting business from not trying to be someone we weren't. But that's not, especially when it comes to video, you're not done as soon as you do that, because I think video is really, it's a hard medium to create content on. Like it's not as easy as blogging, and there's definitely a learning curve, and there's that like utter cringy moment that everyone has to kind of get through, of watching themselves back and thinking, oh my God, am I really that boring on video? So you do need to kind of get through that. And we did constantly get better and better and better. And we get bored quite easily. So we don't like doing the same thing over and over and over again. So we're constantly looking for ways to make our videos get better, to get more of ourselves across, to give them more personality, to stand out in the marketplace.
And what I'd also say on top of that is it's not just about suddenly being yourself on video or on Facebook Live or in a video or in a blog even, and then suddenly everything's going to work out. Like that, that's not the thing. The thing is that you want to be more remarkable, okay? So in this world, you can either be better or different. It's incredibly hard to do the best blogs in the world, because some people are writing like 30,000 word blogs. And that's just insane to keep up that kind of consistency or that amount. So where you can win is to be different. And what we did was, we were the fun people in marketing. A lot of marketers are all the same, and they're very serious or methodical. I know there is some like really lovely ones and some fun ones out there, but they don't play on that. Like we've literally got like videos of me hitting Andrew in the face with a pan, or paying my brother in the face. And we're not actually that slapstick as much anymore, but we're still fun. And we've developed that humor into something a little bit more of a performance now. That's how we're going to be seeing it, but it's still playing on this whole fun element. And that was what was different for us in our industry. Now, for some industries, that's not going to work. And for some people, just being yourself isn't good enough.
Like if you are in the clown industry.
Yeah, if you're in the clown industry, being fun is different. So it is about being yourself, being better and getting better, but ultimately it's more about being remarkable and creating something that's so awesome or so different that it's worth making a remark about. And it's that word of mouth from your content that's really gonna get someone traction.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, right? I'm on this thing, not just about creating video, but finding this voice and this remarkability thing. So I'm telling you, 99.9% of the people watching this are you probably have more remarkability in your little, like the little molecule that's like little piece of cheese that's probably like underneath your nail from the doodle you just ate or something.
So how to be more remarkable? Yeah. Okay. You know what?
You guys have that much more remarkability.
You know what? It's not true. It's not, right?
We
have.
Okay, well, show me, convince me, because.
Okay, we have never failed. Like, we have heard that time and time and time again. People pay us to help them think of what is remarkable about them,
or what remarkable content they could create.
Yeah, or how they can stand out in their industry. And there is always something that you can do that's going to stand you out in your industry. And there's like lots of different ways that you can kind of come about this. And our book, Content Mavericks, has a whole kind of process for going into that. One of the activities that we do, which is like a great start, is we'll sit down with a client and we'll get them to list as many words off the top of their head, words or phrases that they would like to be described when they're not in the room, right? And there's no wrong answers with this. If we want to be creative, then we can't say that there's a right or a wrong answer. So we just get them to list as many as they can in a short period of time as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We ask them questions like, how do you want to be described when you're not in the room? Why should I go with you over your competitor? What like really pisses you off about your industry? How do you want to be remembered when you're dead? Like questions like this. I don't know if we've actually asked that one.
What do your clients say about you?
And we get them to write as many things down as possible. Yeah. And then we cross out everything, like literally everything that their competitors could also say they are. So that gets rid of a big chunk. That gets rid of a huge chunk. And then what's left, we start grouping those. And we come up with like 3 remarkable brand values that the brand needs to live by. So a lot of people struggle to be remarkable because they've got no kind of boundaries to think of remarkable ideas. So if you've got in your brain, right, I am these 3 things, and these 3 things make me different in my industry, then suddenly when you're making decisions like what your website should look like, or what your video should be like, or what your podcast should be like, or what any kind of content should be like you can say, right, does it hit at least one of these 3 things? And if it doesn't, you probably just blend it into the background.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people, they are just looking what other people in their industry are doing, and they think that is the norm for their content. Yeah. And that is how you just blend into the background.
Yeah. They'll just kind of play follow the leader. And if you play follow the leader, you're 1 step behind. And if you're 1 step behind in Google's eyes, you're not on page 1.
Yes.
Or you're not at the top of that timeline in Facebook.
Another great thing you can do is we love coming up with your arch enemy. So we'll often think, right, we'll get people to come up with their arch enemy. So this is someone else in your industry that does things in the completely opposite way to how you operate, right? So our arch enemy, we call the marketing suit douche. So they're suited and booted. They wear a tie. They love things like SWOT analysis and all these crappy marketing models.
And they're partial to a flyer.
They're very partial to a flyer. And we'll think, right, what would the marketing suit douche do? Because we need to do the opposite of that. And oftentimes that we'll get people to come up with their arch enemy, then we'll look at their websites and their content, and they're doing exactly what their arch enemy would do. And it's like, why are you doing that? So that's 2 ways you can be more remarkable.
I love that because, one of the things that I'm always saying, that one of the values that I live by is marketing is about who you're being much more than what you're doing, right? So got to choose. It's a way of being, right? So when you think about it that way, it's very, very similar to what you guys are. You're kind of ferreting out and parsing out this very unique way of being that your clients would have. Right?
Yeah.
And I love this arch enemy comparison too. It's like, you know, because sometimes we don't know what we do want, but we know what we don't want.
Exactly. Yeah. And just coming up with some kind of framework to think of ideas is like the first step. Like no one can come up with ideas from a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah, so if you're like gonna do a blog or a video and you think, you know, how can I make this like a little bit different to my arch enemy? Well then, you know, if you have like your brand in place, if you've thought about those values, if you think about your mission or your arch enemy, you suddenly have like trigger points for sparking ideas, but also boundaries for what they have to be. And so it's almost like a filter. You can filter your ideas through it or spark ideas from it.
And I guess, I mean, am I hearing you correctly where maybe that transition, like there is an overnight shift. However, beyond that overnight shift, what I hear you saying is that there is still much work to be done.
Yeah. And I don't think it's ever finished. Like our brand and our content is constantly evolving. And I think as soon as you think, okay, this is it, this is done, that's when you get complacent. That's when other people come in, they'll overtake you. Your current audience that love you will get bored eventually. Like if everything stays exactly the same. Like think about your favorite TV shows. Like if your favorite TV shows stay the same, people get bored really quickly. So you've got to constantly keep evolving, constantly keep adapting, constantly keep on working out what do people really love about you, what don't people love about you, what don't you love about yourself, how can you improve that? And also just as you grow, as you get older, or as your business gets older, like what changes in that to make your brand constantly evolving? So we're never fully happy, which is something that's always frustrated us. But I think something that we've learned to live with, in that we shouldn't be fully happy.
Yeah,
because
you've got room to grow.
Yeah, like the fact that we're not always fully happy with where we are is the reason that we're constantly trying to push ourselves. And even just today, we had to remind ourselves of that, didn't we?
Yeah. Talk a little bit about this. How do I say this? How you have used, because, you know, we're all familiar with blogging and articles and written content getting out there, and how that written content ultimately can attract, whether it's customers or audience and so on and so forth. How does it work for you on video? Because talk a little bit about your YouTube channel, and then talk a little bit about how you're using video as sort of like a customer attraction thing, because, you know, you sell a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So essentially video is the starting point. It's where people find us. It's where people are drawn to from. It's where we actually send people and tell people to go and watch. And this is, it's all really helpful stuff. Okay. So we're just putting out really helpful stuff. We're not necessarily selling in our YouTube channel videos. And what this does is it builds our brand equity, and it builds that trust, and it builds the relationships, and it builds our audience. So that's the first step. You want to be found. You want to be found. You want to get people to like you, trust you, become loyal to you. And so we get them to subscribe. That's the first step. And then from there, we get them to subscribe. Like if they subscribe to our email, we get them to go and click on things. All right. So we call these hand raisers. So when people are on our email list, or there's lots of different ways to do this, but essentially we want to know who in our audience is ready to buy. So if we want to launch event tickets or books, or if we want to get them to join our membership site, Atomic, then all we need to do is get them to raise their hand, right? To signal that they're interested in something. So for example, if we are going to launch an event, we could say, would you like to pre-register for a flash sale if we ever do an event? Okay, anyone that clicks on that or subscribes to that is definitely interested in buying a ticket to our event. If we want to get them onto our membership site, we can say, hey, would you like to see a behind the scenes video about our membership site? Again, that shows that you're interested and we can follow up. Or even if it's just a lead on, like for example, we had a show all about how to get started with video on our membership site. So we did a Facebook Live Q&A, and to promote that Facebook Live Q&A, we asked in our bot audience, Messenger bot audience, we said, hey, have you ever thought about getting into video? Do you have any questions? Okay, loads of people ask questions. It was a great Facebook Live. Everybody that watches that Facebook Live is interested in getting started with video because it was a video Q&A. And so we can retarget and follow up with all those people that watch that video to get them onto our membership site. And it's the same with YouTube. Like you can retarget on YouTube as well. So we're using video in a lot of different ways, but predominantly video isn't necessarily where we sell. It's usually done by our email list.
Yes, video is just to build the audience, build that trust, build that awareness. And we love YouTube for that because it's a search engine as well.
Yeah.
So people can find us because they are literally searching for things. Like that's why we rate, even though you're probably going to be able to get more views on something like Facebook or LinkedIn video, like those views are pretty meaningless. It's like 3 seconds for someone scrolling past in a social feed, where with YouTube, they've either come to our video because we've pointed them and said, go watch this, it's going to be awesome, and they've clicked to watch it, or they don't know us yet and they've searched for something, we've came up, they found us, they're consuming our content. So like a view in YouTube is worth so much more to us than any of the other social platforms.
Facebook or LinkedIn or...
And I was going to ask about that. We're going to talk a little bit about that on the chat about YouTube alternatives. And do you use any YouTube alternatives? And how do you discern whether you're going to put content on YouTube versus putting content someplace else?
So for us, YouTube is always the place where the good content goes. So the lengthy, like 5 to 10 minute plus content is going to live on YouTube because people are going to YouTube to watch video when they're not really going to Facebook or going to LinkedIn, you could argue, for the sake of watching videos. So anything lengthy goes to YouTube. Like live, we even do lives on YouTube, don't we?
Yeah, but like we will do a lot of lives on Facebook. It all depends on where you want to be, where you want to be known for. So rather than like spreading yourself too thin, doing all the platforms and all the things and all video, like we'd say just choose one platform as your dominant one. And focus really hard on that. Do video for that platform and make it really, really work for you. So if you get amazingly good at, Instagram video or LinkedIn video or Facebook video, you can make the most of that in any way. You can retarget to your Facebook videos. Any one of those you can embed on your blog, so you can have your blog that ranks in search for that topic potentially. For us, so you can make the most of each of them.
For us, because we're doing very search-friendly videos, then YouTube just makes sense. Like short form, viral videos where it's super easy to like super shareable videos, they tend to do well on Facebook over YouTube.
Yeah.
I really like that. I think that's such great advice. So I think you've given us so much great content. So let's really talk about Andrew and Pete, because you mentioned your live events. You mentioned some books. You mentioned Atomic. And for those folks out there, can you please explain a little bit about what Andrew and Pete is about and why we should choose you, who should choose you, and why? For what?
I'm going to let Pete do this. He's a much better salesman, although it does sound like we've had some subliminal messaging agenda going on here, doesn't it?
No. You know what? I have to, and I'm really only asking for real reasons because I knew that you guys were speakers. I knew that you had the membership site, so I was pretty clear about that. However, as soon as we started this thing, you started talking about working with clients. So I kind of, am curious about how all these pieces fit together.
Okay.
So at the very heart of Andrew and Pete and what we love to do is to really work with small businesses because we believe that they can be small but big, right? We believe that we can make a lot of money, but we don't have to have like 1,000 offices or locations. We don't have to have 10,000 staff. We don't have to get venture capital. We can
What are you
be
gonna do?
awesome.
Charge small business owners £1 million?
Pardon?
Are you gonna charge small business owners £1 million to work with?
Exactly.
3 of them.
And we can retire after one client, right?
That would be great.
Um,
We're still looking for that ideal client. That is our avatar. Someone that's got £1 million to spend on us.
Yeah. So that's what we believe in, right? We believe in the small business, and they can make a lot of money.
Mhm.
So pretty much everything that we do is geared towards that.
Mhm.
So what our YouTube channel is about. Atomic is our membership site that gives you the more hands-on, practical, technicals, walkthroughs of how to do just that, how to make the most of, being a solopreneur or a small business, but still make a ton of money and be just yourself, doing something that you love, more importantly. We do have one-on-one coaching, and you can hire us to do some stuff one-on-one. That is a little bit more expensive than the membership site, of course. But we do have books, which is an even cheaper way to get started with us. And we have just launched our event, Atomic Con, as well, which is over here in Newcastle in the UK, which is exciting.
What are we gonna do at Atomicon? Like, why should I fly over across the pond?
It's going to be the most Instagrammable conference you've ever been to in your life.
I suck at Instagram.
It's going to be fun. We have sold out though for next year already, which has kind of blown our minds. So it's not for another 4 months, and we've sold 300 tickets. So I think we're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
I like that. So you sold 300 tickets. I'm a little bit partial to smaller conferences because I think that when it just gets into thousands and thousands of people, it's hard to have meaningful, it is for me, maybe because I'm shy. It's hard to have meaningful conversations. It's hard to really connect with people.
It's funny, right? Because the conference scene in the States is so different to the UK. So you would probably like UK conferences because 300 people is big over here.
That's the biggest. I don't think there's any that go over that.
There's a few,
maybe 1 or 2 outliers, but
yeah,
most of them are 300.
Yeah, so max. I don't know. Maybe we'll bring the mega conference to the UK one day.
Maybe we will.
You could probably do it. I think it's. I like that. So 300 is a lot because I think that's awesome. You get this opportunity. So what's going to happen at the conference?
So we've got some awesome speakers lined up. Mm-hmm. We've got lots of networking opportunities. We have 2 parties. It's a one-day event, but we have 2 parties. So we have a pre-party and we have an after party. So we're going to make sure that you learn a ton, but we're also going to make sure that you have a lot of fun. That rhymed. I love it when you have an accidental rhyme. I just love it.
That's also another thing that's going to be great about it is that we're going to have an implementation follow-up webinar.
Yes.
So a lot of people will go away from a conference and they'll be so overwhelmed and they won't do anything, or it's really hard to action it from the jumbled notes. Mm-hmm. Whereas what we're going to do is a whole webinar after, and we're going to bring out our focus hierarchy model, and we're going to help bring in those takeaways and get people to actually start writing down, planning, and implementing.
So is going to the conference kind of a way to have that time with you and these experts and sort of get these things started, right? And then maybe would you want to join Atomic afterwards, or do you just follow this webinar implementation?
Yeah, no, there'll be a lot of Atomic members there as well. So it kind of started as a place for our community to go. We weren't going to do this conference, and then our community just kept on asking us, please can we have an event? Please can we have an event? Please can we have an event? So we gave in eventually, as we do, because we're big softies, and we put on this event. And we did think it was going to be maybe 80 to 100 people. That was our initial plan, mainly members. But it can't, the members just shared it like crazy, and it's gone far and wide. So we would love it if the people were there, wanted to continue learning with Atomic, join the community fully. But it's not going to be a big sales pitch for Atomic either. You are going to be able to come to the event, learn some stuff, be able to implement it. And I think it's just great just taking time out of your business. Mm-hmm. I know we absolutely love just getting out the office, getting to conferences, meeting cool people that inspire us, that are doing different things in their industry, because we always come away with new ideas. We always have great conversations with people, not even the speakers necessarily, just people we meet at the conference. We always come away super inspired with loads of new ideas. And that's kind of what we want to leave our attendees with, the same feeling. Awesome.
So now we've done this big pitch fest for a conference you can't go to. I love that.
You can get on a waiting list. Come 2020. When's this interview going up?
No, I really was just kind of curious because I have, I'm on your mailing list and I do enjoy the videos. I don't watch all of them all the time, but I really enjoy how you're able to translate, some of the very messages that are really important for small business owners to get in such a fun and inspiring way. And I guess the reason I wanted to have you guys on is that most people are like really struggling with this. Where do I find my voice? How do I find my voice? How do I get to that thing that's going to make my content remarkable, not just unique?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we love to do. And thank you for watching our videos and saying those kind of words.
Oh, well, they're fun to watch. You make it worth the time. The content is good. You guys are fun to watch. I just on the off chance, as you guys, was there ever a contemplation of, well, we could do this, we could do it this way, or we could do it that way? And then you chose one.
Like all the time, in a way.
Yeah.
For example, when we got the social media marketing world gig, right? The biggest stage I've ever spoke on at the time, and it was like amazing, huge kudos. And we thought, okay, yeah, we could post about it. And we almost wrote a whole thing saying, check us out. We're speaking at Social Media Marketing World. But actually, the true reaction to getting that email of, being invited to speak there was, oh my God, woo-hoo, high fives, like total celebration. And then we thought, well, let's just do that. Yeah. So we just posted oh my God, we're like so beyond excitement. It's untrue. And that was like so much more us. And it wasn't a case of being that douchebag that's saying oh, check me out and speaking on social media marketing world. It was more, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is so exciting. And I think that's being true to yourself like that. And that also came from our values. Our anti Andrew and Pete.
Arch enemy.
Our arch enemy.
The suit douche.
Yeah, the suit douche. And I think that's it's really important. So all your decisions should really come through your brand and brand values.
Sometimes I think it's really easy to overthink it. Where sometimes, I'm not saying necessarily go with your first idea, because your first idea is generally the obvious and what everyone else is doing, but just how you implement that.
Yeah.
If you start thinking, right, how do I get across a certain level, or how do I get across a certain aesthetic or tone,
I think
then you kind of lose yourself.
I'm gonna cut in there, sorry, as well. Just, you mentioned something, when people overthink things, just keep it, do keep it simple, because if it's complicated to come up with and convoluted to explain, it's so much harder for a potential customer to understand and pass on and buy from you. For example, with coaches, there's a lot of coaches that come up with these strange names to describe themselves. I'm a shiny wealth coach. So what is a shiny wealth coach? Or what is
I really hope no one's got that.
I'm trying to think
He just made that up. If there is a shiny wealth coach out there, we are not picking on you.
Do you know what I mean? And I don't know. It's the same across a lot of industries. People will call themselves really weird things. It makes no sense. Just call yourself something that people know. And then, the tone of language, the style, the graphics, the way you talk about it, whatever the belief is behind that, let that come through as maybe a differentiator.
Rather than making up words.
Yeah.
So tell me about how these videos happen, because, you know, I love the special effects. I love everything, but like really take me in there. Do you guys write a script or are you just like videotaping you? Because I'm noticing that we're just chatting and you guys clearly have lots of practice because who you are here is very similar to how your videos go. So how do you do it?
Okay, so we have like a full process. And again, this process has got better over time. So we do script. So I'll take you, let's just start at the beginning. So the first thing we do is we find a topic. So we find a topic that people are actually searching for. That's step one for us on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're using various tools for that. We're using keywords everywhere. We are using morning fame, and we're finding a topic people want to find. The next thing we're doing is we do script. Now, a lot of video people will tell you not to script. They'll tell you to make bullet points and just kind of riff. For us, we've just found scripting is so much better. We can like really think about we can almost visualize what it's going to look like. Yeah. We can tighten up points. We can see if it's dragging, then we can make that a bit better.
It's about being concise.
Yeah.
So your retention rates are stupidly important on YouTube. And so if you're just riffing, you're probably just blabbing, and you could have said it much clearer, and you'll come back later and go, oh, I could have said that much better. Like me just now.
I didn't know. So we do script. We do script, and we script in jokes, and we try to think, how is this going to be funny? But then as we're recording, we are kind of riffing off each other. So I don't know if people would necessarily tell which ones are scripted and which ones aren't scripted. Yeah. If I'm ever winding Pete up, it's probably not scripted because I've got a knack of being able to push his buttons in the right place.
Okay, I know where his tickle spots are.
No, don't. Right, so we script, moving on, we script, and then we film, and we use the jump cutting technique. So it's not like we don't use auto cue, we literally learn a line, present it to camera as much as we can, stop on the next line, present it to camera. So we end up with this ridiculously long video, which then we used to do this ourselves. So we used to edit ourselves in iMovie. We've been using an editor now for maybe a year and a bit. I think it was last June. We got the editor, and she is awesome. So we sent it over to her. She sends it back. If there's any edits, then we'll make a few edits. Or make a few. She does the edits. We'll make a few suggestions. And then we've got a content manager now as well that does a lot of the nitty gritty, uploading it to YouTube, sending out the email promotion, scheduling the social promotion. But back in the day, we were literally doing every single step ourselves. And we had this huge spreadsheet of all the tasks that had to be done to get one video out, with how long it took us. And we were spending a full Tuesday just doing it. So every single Tuesday is and was our content day. But now, because we've outsourced a lot of the tasks, we're using the rest of that time to just be a little bit more creative, think a little bit more strategically, put a little bit more effort into the script and the processes. Yes. Yeah.
So where did the special effects come from? Is that like purely the editor decides what she's going to do in there, or
to go crazy?
Yeah, she just knows us super well. So we've got a great editor, and before she even edited one of our videos, we had a full like brand discovery session with her where she found out exactly what we liked, what we didn't like, who we liked on YouTube, who we didn't like on YouTube. And she's just great. Like she's captured us really, really well. We do sometimes we'll say like, right, blow Pete's face up at this point. But a lot of it, she's just working. She's just doing it.
In a recent video, my head did get exploded, and
I think I saw that.
Oh yeah, I think
I might have seen that one. And is Pete? Are you typically the recipient?
That wasn't real. Don't worry, that wasn't real.
Oh, I'm so glad.
What were you asking there? Is Pete typically the what?
It's usually the recipient of all the things that happen.
Embarrassment. Yeah, typically.
We have our characters.
Andrew's the worst, and he won't do any of that.
We're just completely in character this whole time, aren't we? We hate each other in real life.
Yeah, I can see that.
You hit me with a pan once.
I'm actually thinking that was the other way around, thinking about it. I think it was.
I need to dive back into the vaults. I think we both got it.
You guys, and do you find that, like I find, because of who you are, it sort of rubs off on folks? If you know that folks are lighthearted and funny, it's easy to be lighthearted and funny. How do you find that those are the kinds of clients that you attract, or do you find, like, well, you know, who's attracted to your fun way of being?
That's the beauty of all this.
That's the great thing of having a brand like ours that isn't just kind of vanilla and down the line, in that we know people aren't going to get it. And we've had like the messages saying, guys, can you just be, I just want to learn this seriously, or guys, that was really cringeworthy. Like, can you not just teach this normally? Like, and yeah, we think, oh God, do you really need to be that mean? I mean, come on. But then another part of us is like, you know what? Just let them be a little bit mean, because they're not for us. And generally, they filter themselves out. So generally, we don't get clients that aren't willing to embrace a little bit of what we're trying to teach. And we're not necessarily saying everyone needs to be crazy and daft and funny, but you do need to be like a little bit brave, push, and want to push the boundaries.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, they don't need to be crazy or wacky like us, but, you know, have a sense of humor, please.
Yeah.
Like, we love all our members. Our members are awesome. And if ever there's one person that, like, comes in and they totally don't fit, they go within a month. Like, no, we don't push them out or anything, but they typically go. And for every person that's like, okay, I'm going to watch this YouTube video now. Oh, no, these are cringeworthy, these two guys. I'm going to go away. For every one of those people, there's another, like, 10 people that are like, oh, my God, this is amazing. Sha. So
how do you work with folks who are, and I can't, you know, I can imagine that there are members of your community and people who are drawn to you. You know, what I like to say about people who are analytical and quiet is that they're laughing inside.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you, because you guys are the way you are, how can you help someone who's more reserved, more quiet, more serious? How do you help them discover their brand?
Well, it's exactly the same process, but the outcome will be different. So, like, you don't necessarily have to be remarkable by being, like, brash and risky and loud and in your face, or maybe slapstick, like we can be. Like, you can stand out in lots of different ways. For example, if you've ever read one of Brian Dean's articles on Backlinko, like, he creates the most, like, in-depth, actionable, beautiful, technical blogs on SEO, like, in the world. They're
definitely not funny.
No, they're not funny. They're like 20,000 words, and it takes you a whole weekend to read them. Like, you have to book it off your schedule. But they're great, and I love them to bits. And I'll read, like, every word twice.
Yeah.
So it's not about, you know, being loud or slapstick or funny or entertaining or inspiring. It could be informative. It could be in-depth. It could be research-based.
It could be analytical.
Data-driven.
Like, you could be the most serious marketer on the planet. You could be the biggest geek with the biggest crush on analytics. And that is more remarkable than 99% of marketers out there.
Very true. Very true. Well, I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to thank you guys for being here, because you're so awesome. I don't even know how I'm going to edit this whole thing, because I am going to be one of those edit yourself on iMovie person.
We've got a great editor. If you want an introduction, let us know.
I don't think that editor can do anything with the kind of video makeover that I require.
You will be amazed. You'll be amazed.
You can cut it.
It can just be us. It could just be us being it's just a weird monologue. That's all you're
That's usually what, well, I don't know if I'll do that, because it does have to get out. I have done that before, where I just basically cut myself out of it and I just let the other people talk.
Oh, wow.
And
We're just joking. You're awesome.
Yeah.
just, not video worthy. Cringe worthy is my hashtag for video.
No, definitely not. Okay, guys, watching this, you need to let us know if Ivana is cringeworthy, because
Right.
no, it's not.
All right, my man. I'm going to let you go have that cocktail while you enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you over on Twitter. We're so excited. We're going to talk all about YouTube and video content. You guys are going to be stars.
Gonna be awesome.
Gonna be awesome.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye, guys.
And Pete's head explodes in 3, 2, 1.
That's so funny. Wait a minute. I have to stop. Stop first. Do you want to stop? Yeah.